Straw Hut Media.
This episode is good.
Listen, it gets messy, which is appropriate since this is Confess Your Mess. Our guest is amazing, and the wisdom and the knowledge, it's
she speaks truth, and she speaks love, and she speaks honesty, and it's incredible. We're so excited for you to listen to this entire podcast. It just flew by, and it's interesting because, you know, we've loved all of our guests, but there's just something different about this week. She's an Emmy winner. She's been in the game, in the zeitgeist for so long.
Let's get into the pod.
Confess your mess.
We need to take a moment to just sort of like sit in the success of like all that we have accomplished the last few years, because today is a big one for us. We're really excited about this. We have an icon on the show, and we're going to tell you who it is in just a moment. But first, I want to remind you that if you want to get on the pod, Emile, why don't you tell them how? See how your throat sounds.
Okay, so if you want to get if you want to get on the pod, what you need to do is go to Apple Podcast, rate, comment, and subscribe. 5 stars, please, if you would want to be kind and do us a favor. And also, this is a 5-star podcast. Let's be honest. Like, our podcast, it's amazing. We have fun. But that's the way you can become a messenger. If you want your secrets on the pod, go to confessyourmess.us. Did I just forget the website for a second?
You got it.
Confessyourmess.us, and you can submit your secrets. You can remain anonymous. You can also leave us a voice note, and we will scramble your voice so nobody recognizes you. And we would really love that. So
yes, and we are going to announce our messenger of the week a little bit later on.
Yes,
y'all are extra messy, and we love that about you. And our guest today, I'm not going to say she's messy. I'm not going to say that, but she is a whole lot of fun.
Yes.
Listen, she's an accomplished Emmy Award-winning actor with a wide-ranging body of work. She's been seen on ABC's Dance with the Stars, The Vanished, where she co-stars with Thomas Jane. Listen, I could go on and on. There's a long list of accomplishments this woman has had in her career. She's literally done it all. My moment that I always go back to, and you know I love this. I watch it every single year, and I just watched it a few weeks ago. Is her role in I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh my
and
God,
that's probably going to make her geek out a little
loves that movie.
But please welcome to the pod, Anne Heche. Anne, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I Know What You Did Last Summer, really? That's the top one, huh?
Listen, okay, so I have loved you for so long, and I've had you on my morning show, the Morning Beat over on Channel Q, and we had a blast. This is a different format, and I'm excited to get you in this sort of arena, because that is literally, you stood out in that movie to me in a way that was so interesting, and I watched it just a few weeks ago, like I said, and I was like, oh, it still holds up. Like, she's still dope, and this movie's still incredible. And I also, this is where my brain goes, because as you know, Scream 5 is about to come out, and those movies kind of lived in the same space, the Kevin Williamson like slashers of the late 90s, and I looking back, technically, your character is not dead. So if they were to reboot, I still know what you did last summer, 32 summers ago, you could still come back. I'm just saying.
I really want to know what Anne Heche is doing last summer. I want to know what she was doing. I want them to make me a part of it.
Oh, absolutely. So good. So we want to know that we can trust you with our messengers. So what is your mess, but yes?
Well, I mean, people don't like to hear this, but because I tell my children too, and one of the things that I live by in my life is that I have to tell the truth, and earning that right and that privilege does leave you in a place where you can say stuff like this. I still smoke. Okay, now I know everybody go, oh, that's really bad. No, listen, I do a lot of things in my life. I push myself a lot, and I'm a very healthy person. I could probably run most 20-year-olds around the block. But listen, there are certain things and certain times and moments in the day where I'm like, I want that smoke. Now, when you used to have old-fashioned movies like I used to be in, you know, when they would actually roll film, there would be this gorgeous moment when the film reel would you know, of course, roll out like real film does, and they would have to change that. And that would take about 5 minutes. 5 minutes was that extra special moment in the day where you would be like, yes, it's a cigarette break. And you would go outside and you'd do the other dirty thing that I'm going to admit to you too. Tell dirty jokes and compliment people on how hot they are and talk about their cute hair look or what their muscles look like. And you would do that while you were smoking cigarettes. So they are now taboos in today's industry where you can't smoke a cigarette and you can't compliment people because you'll get sued for something. But that's the olden days, and I still abide those things. I still smoke cigarettes on set, and I still tell dirty jokes.
This sounds like a bygone era almost, but I love the honesty. I think we can actually trust our messenger
Can you
secrets.
trust it? I got it. I got the messengers.
So let's get into it.
Yeah, we trust you. AJ a few years ago snuck a cigarette when he went to a party with a friend, and came home and didn't want to tell me, and I was like, something tastes a little different in your mouth.
As a little secret cigarette.
I haven't done it in a while. So to be full transparency, I do not smoke, but I grew up with a mother who smoked, and I remember I had a science fair project in like elementary school. I went to Immaculate Conception Elementary School, and I created the science fair project to teach my mom of the negative impact of smoking. And so my parents, as I'm maybe 12 years old, go out and buy me multiple cartons of different types of cigarettes. I make these contraptions with mason jars, tubes, and cotton balls, and I'm in our basement, in our secret room, pumping all of these cigarettes so that these cotton balls can showcase what your lungs look like. And I sat in that room for weeks with just smoke-filled air. This is the 90s, people. So I don't know how they ever let me do that. They probably should have been arrested. I did smoke for a couple of years in college, but I haven't done that in a long time. I will say this. There's something about having a shot of whiskey and a beer and a cigarette that I still to this day love. I haven't done it in years.
I like this. It's a trifecta. It's got to be a beer, and it's got to be a tequila and a cigarette all together.
Yep, I like the Parliament Lights. That's what I always smoke.
Oh, that's what Heather likes to smoke. Yeah, Miss Heather,
oh
I've got it together.
Goodness.
I know. If I think about it, I get her a pack of Parliaments, and then she hides them around my apartment because I don't smoke like it's not like I don't go through a pack a day. Like sometimes I'll have 2 cigarettes a day or whatever. I don't let myself judge myself for it. But I do because of that. The habit doesn't make it so that I have to buy a pack of cigarettes every day. So I run out after 4 days. So Heather likes to hide them around my apartment, but she'll be like, if you can't have a cigarette before bed or together, then she likes to have a cigarette. So she'll go into my empty potted plants and pull out a Parliament.
Oh my God.
Look what I have for you, and it's like the best present of the day.
Fun fact, I want somebody to Google this and find out if this is actually true, if this is something I was told many, many years ago that I tell as if it is a fact. But Parliaments, you know how they have the recessed filter and they're kind of hollow at the end?
Yeah, it's kind of fun to put your tongue on.
Well, they say in Hollywood they use it for cocaine, but also back in the day, World War I or World War II, I believe it was. I was told that they built them that way, they structured them that way, so that when you're down in the trenches and you're clenching down because you're literally shooting, you can bite and you can still smoke the cigarette. It doesn't ruin the cigarette.
Wow.
So try it sometime for fun.
Try it sometime when a gun is at my head. Does this Parliament work?
Hope that never happens. All right, let's get into our confessions.
All right.
So the theme for this episode, because every episode we like to have a theme for our secrets. So the theme for this episode is queer relationship, sex, and betrayal/cheating secrets.
Oh, that's a lot.
Wow. So, you haven't had that topic before? How many more topics are there when we're talking about sexual demise?
Yeah, I feel like they always revolve around sexuality.
There's something sexual about it.
We've had betrayal secrets. We've kind of, but this one is like a lump of all these secrets. So let's go to our first one. This is from Anonymous. They're non-binary and they live in Southern California. Okay.
Is that the secret?
No. That's just information. I literally was going through my brain. I was like, is this our producer, Frank? But it's not because they said they're currently married. Okay. So this person says, I'm currently married and came out about a year ago to my husband that I was non-binary. I felt like I was missing something and realized I was polyamorous. So then I went and started dating my girlfriend and now we're all dating. It's been great, and honestly, I couldn't be happier. It's a secret because we're not fully open with our families about it. Only close friends and relatives know, which is sad because we're so happy and would love to express our love freely without having to hide it. Ooh.
Okay, that's a lot. I'm curious. This is a lot.
Yes.
It's a lot of layers, and it's interesting because I feel like we're hearing these stories more and more now, and it's still, even as a gay cis man, it's hard for me to wrap my brain around it to keep up with this sometimes. But if it works for them, I guess it works for them. And it's so interesting because...
what's hard for you? Polyamory?
The layers of it and the levels of it. Because it's a different experience for the husband in the marriage. It's a different experience for the non-binary person in the marriage. And then it's a different experience for the woman who's coming into the relationship. And I know, Anne, I'm going to brush over this because obviously everybody knows you dated Ellen DeGeneres back in the day. We've talked about it ad nauseum. It is what it is. But back then, it was such a revolutionary, outside of the box, taboo thing. And you hear relationships like this that are so common nowadays. Does it make you feel like you were just ahead of your time? Does it make you feel a little bit jealous in any way that this is so open now? Or are you like, honey, I've been there, done that?
I don't think I've been there, done that with all three of the things that were just mentioned there. I don't think I'm non-binary nor am I polyamorous. And I'm not even sure what the first one was. I think female, but I might be female. But here's the thing that I think gets us tripped up a little bit is that we get into one hole, and when we want to fight to be able to come out of that hole and be accepted for who we are, and then we put ourselves into the other things. I think for me the confusion lies in why do we have to label so many different things? If you look at love as non-gender, then why would you need to label yourself in so many different directions? That's just my own, but that's actually a naive point of view. Where I came from, I wasn't worried about whether or not I was labeled something or another. People have now labeled me bisexual, which is interesting because, wrap your heads around this, I have never been with a woman since Ellen, nor had I been with a woman before Ellen. So when we get into definitions of things, it's really curious because you need a lot of agreement on what that definition is. I'm not offended by the definition of bisexual. However, I don't think that probably my understanding of that is the same as what other people define me as. So when we get into definitions, we have to be very careful as to what it is we're agreeing upon. So I can definitely agree upon one thing. I definitely believe that I was ahead of our time. And that moment in my life and being able to stand up for that has caused very many conversations and clarifications for people. And I hope that it helps. Sometimes I do look at labels though, and I think I'm not sure it's helping at all. Why don't we just all strip down and go, we can love whoever we want to love and be whoever we want to be. And owning that is our joy. And I think that's where this person is sitting in the seat of going, oh, now I have all this. I was fine with being bisexual. I was then fine with being non-binary. I was then not fine with being polyamorous. But now all of them together, I don't know how I'm going to be all of those things and how I'm going to be able to come out of the closet with all 19 of that. Like, why aren't we just who we are and perhaps getting ourselves into other situations where we feel like we have to hide is the journey that we want to look at before we get into the part where we're hiding again. I would encourage people to not hide.
Spoke to me in many different ways. And while, you said in one part of it, you might feel as if what you're saying is naive. I feel like there is something in that spoke to me in terms of when you, specifically with this secret and dynamics of how they're afraid to talk to their family about this, right? If we were to strip the labels away and just present to the family, I'm truly happy now. This is my partner and my partner. Yeah. And this is me. Then it takes away all the, because real talk, my dad's about to be 80. My mom's about to be 70. Sorry, mom, dad, if you are upset about me revealing your ages.
You look fantastic,
though. But to try to explain to a man who's almost 80 who grew up in rural Louisiana and my mom who's Jamaican, like some of these labels, like us or me coming out as gay was a lot for them. So to try to explain some of these new things, to try to explain polyamory and non-binary and all these different things, it can be a lot for them. Not saying that that's necessarily okay, but it is a lot when you get older in age and all of a sudden there's all these new terms that they're trying to navigate. So I don't know for this person, what their dynamic is, their family or the ages or different things like that. But if we did take all the labels away and we just focused on, is this person in my life happy? And they say, yes, I am happy. I think that should be what matters.
Seems like a pretty simplified version of what love is. Yes.
Yeah.
And you might be ahead of your time again. This is what I've always loved about you, though, because you, even though the game has changed so rapidly and Hollywood has changed so rapidly, especially in the last few years, you are still speaking your truth. You haven't been canceled. Maybe people have tried over the years, but you're still speaking truth. And
I believe I was the original canceled in terms of this particular conversation.
but yet here you are again. Like, you're still out here. You haven't backed down. You're still doing you, and you're still working, and you're still like living your life. And I think that's so cool because I remember a few weeks back when Adele's album dropped, and she was talking about, in an interview that kind of went viral, and she was saying, I didn't make this music for the TikTokers. I don't care. Like, why do I need to cater to TikTokers? Because those TikTokers have moms and dads who are in their 30s and 40s who are going through life and who are going to therapy and trying to figure out who they are and trying to figure out how to be happy, like me. Mm-hmm. Those are the people I want to talk to. I'm not worried about offending anybody else. I don't care. Like, and I love that mentality because I think too many people retreat nowadays, and they don't want to get canceled. They don't want to get labeled. And so I just love, I think that answer is so incredible. So I'm not even going to try to top it. So thank you.
I think with the cancel culture, you have to realize once you're canceled, what is it that who said? Like, who said so? And what does it mean you got canceled for? And what is it that you're about? Because you like literally can't get canceled for a belief system that you have. That can't get canceled. Somebody can disagree with you. They can say that you're canceled, but who the are they? So I mean, again, with the labeling, we would have to go, well, what am I canceled for? What exactly is that? And then do I stand by that? Or do I change who I am because of that? So standing up for what you believe in is a really question of what your daily practice with yourself is, and whether or not you abide that before anything else in your life. That's what the commitment to loving yourself is about.
Oh, that's good.
So Dancing with the Stars just ended, and when you were on Dancing with the Stars, I remember, because we don't watch every season, just to be fully transparent, but we watched your season, and I remember it was the performance that you did, and I can't remember if it was after you were eliminated or it was just at the end of the performance, but it was the one where it was Pride Everything.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I remember we both cried because it was just such a beautiful moment.
Thank you.
For you and to see, and it kind of goes back to what AJ was saying earlier, how times have changed so much, and just to see you in that moment and see how you were celebrated but also how you were celebrating, it was just a beautiful thing.
Well, yeah, celebrating our community, because like you said, it's interesting because if you haven't paid close attention, I think a lot of the world might think that you're a lesbian or that you're bisexual or whatever label it is they try to wrap their brain around who you are, but you don't identify as any of those things, but you are a very staunch ally of our community.
Of course. Well, I believe that people should love who they want to love. It's really probably one of the most simple philosophies that anybody can have, but it's taken me a long time to be able to be grounded in understanding what that actually means. And it really does come to stripping down of what exterior or what labels or anything else could be, what it means to be in touch with yourself and being on a journey that connects you with yourself so that you can connect with others openly and freely. That's communication isn't just sexually. Communication is in every way. And I think we get tripped up a little bit sometimes going, well, if I cross that line and I go into a physical thing, then that means that I'm something other than what I am. Not really. We don't have to cross into any other place other than where we are. And if we want to go and explore other things, then that's our right, because it's our privilege to be able to be on this planet and enjoy life the way that it's offered. And we get so caught up in what everybody else says is okay to feel or experiment or be with, and if we didn't do that, then we wouldn't have so much time wondering why anybody else is bad or wrong or this or that. We just be in our life and be free, but we're not there yet, but we're working on it.
Oh, I like that.
Hey, our wedding's coming up in June, and I have to write my vows. So if I reach out to you, I'm like, he's like, wow, your vows are so beautiful and eloquent. Yeah, Anne wrote them. So
I'm happy to provide guidance. Just be true to yourself.
We love it. Did you watch any of Dancing with the Stars this season that just wrapped not too long ago? Iman Shumpert won, but there's also JoJo Siwa, the first same-sex female couple dancing on the show this year, which is a big deal. Yeah, really your boy Cody from Peloton, who you have a crush on.
Oh my God, Cody Riggs, we love.
He made the finals, but were you able to watch it all this season?
It's kind of embarrassing, but once I move on from something, I kind of get into the new thing.
That's not embarrassing. Listen,
that's not embarrassing at all.
Anonymous male. I tried to lose my virginity on Grindr and chickened out.
You need to be with a person in order to lose your virginity. You can't do it over the phone.
That is the best, most iconic response. That was so quick and witty. I love that so much.
It is true. What do you think this fascination is, though, with, and do you think there's a plus and a negative to this world of sort of online dating and apps and things like that? Because me personally, I luckily I met this guy, a decade ago, and it was before sort of all that really blew up. I hooked up with one person on Grindr. It was fun for a little bit. It didn't lead anywhere, and that was that. Yeah. But for me to wrap my brain at age 41, to wrap my brain around dating people on an app is insane to me.
Well, not even dating. They're talking about just hooking up. Literally, they're trying to lose their virginity.
Any of it's crazy to me.
Yeah.
What do you think about this generation and how we've all they've moved on to their phones and they just live there?
Well, I don't know. I mean, people are getting laid more than I am. I got to be honest. I mean, my friend's on Grindr, and I called him the other night. It was like 2:00 in the morning. I'm like, I'm still awake. I just finished some writing. It's like, I just had one of the biggest dicks in my face that I had ever seen. That wrapped around me like an anaconda or whatever that snake is. I'm like, are you kidding me? He's like, yeah, you want to see a picture? I'm like, you know what? Okay, so fine. I get it. Grindr for gay guys. I understand, but I don't know. I don't get on my phone to call over some snakes. I think my kids might get offended if they see him coming up the steps. I'm just not sure. So I think Grindr has a different, I think the people have different needs and they get met in different ways. Mine seem incredibly too unsuperficial, and I would like to change my habits, but I just haven't been able to so far. I'm a pretty monogamous person.
Aww.
Well, here's the thing, and this is what I'll say. I think I don't necessarily view dating apps or Grindr. It's just an evolution of what has always been. So if we take it back to a few decades ago, Craigslist was a thing. People go on Craigslist. There would be a whole like section where people would like male for male, male for female, male for female, male, whatever. People would do that. They would hook up through Craigslist. Before Craigslist, there would be different ways or avenues. You would go to a certain bar or go to a certain club, and you know that this one is specific for hookup. So if you want to get laid, you go there. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I think this is just an evolution of
it speeds up the process.
Exactly. With this one, I can look at your face, I can look at your profile, I can look at your dick and be like, oh, okay, do I want this? No. Do I want this? Yes. And move on. For this person who chickened out though, I think I would be the same way because I wasn't when I was still in the closet, Grindr was fairly new. And I remember I was going to a school in college in North Rural Georgia. And well, let me confess something really fast because I used to work for AT&T in college. And my parents, with my phone, it was on my parents' account. And so I was afraid to download Grindr on my phone. So I thought it was smart. Hey, let me download Grindr on the company work phone because that's smarter because they don't monitor that. Totally. So I downloaded Grindr on the company work phone. That's how I looked. I never actually messaged anybody, but I wanted to see what it was. And also there was nobody in my area because again, I was in North Rural Georgia.
I was on Grindr. I got a phone, my very first iPhone years ago, and I got it from actually my ex-boyfriend and sister. It was a weird thing. They bought it for me for Christmas. I went home to Ohio, and I remember getting Grindr on my phone. I was so excited to look through it. And there was one person in my hometown, and I knew him. And the next closest man on Grindr was 47 miles away. And I was like, nope, don't need it. X out.
You
Close
need
it.
to be that bad?
No.
Oh, gosh.
All right, let's get to another secret.
All right, so this is Anonymous Male, California. I've been in a secret relationship. Wow. I've been in a secret relationship with a married man for 7 years. We see each other frequently, and I'm honestly shocked his wife hasn't found out. Maybe she has and just doesn't care.
That's bad for everybody involved. Same.
Everybody, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it gets to the point also where responsibility, and you can't judge anybody for getting involved in things that they need to get involved in to help take care of their lives. But the fact of the matter is, when you enter into a relationship that's already, they're saying it's a secret, you're looking at something less than 100%. So if you're committing something less than 100%, then you're committing something less than 100% for yourself, for the other, and for the people who are involved that you say may or may not know. So everybody involved in that gets shunned a little bit from 100% of their thriving selves, which is at 100%. So that's all that I ask people to encourage them to look at. It's like, why are we doing things that make us feel like we're less than 100% involved in what we want to be involved in? Whether it's talking to your parents about being in a polyamorous relationship, or whether it's talking to your lover about wanting to be 100% clean and pure and out in the open when they're married. Either way, we're looking at our own opportunity to be living in our full throttle. So it's up to us what we want to do, but until we commit to that 100%, we're never going to get on the other side of what consciousness truly is. And that's what our journey is.
Wow. That's a good book title, Living in Full Throttle. Yeah. It's also a good porn title, but also really a good book title. It could go either way. I love that. Might
be my stripper name.
Not to make another Adele reference, but she's all over my brain the last few weeks, and she talked about this.
Album. Yeah.
She's incredible. Well, she talked about this, they're calling it the divorce album, but it's more of a divorce from her former self, not even from her former husband. And she talks about the moment she realized, she was talking to a friend or something and realized it's not that I'm unhappy with him, but I'm just not 100% myself. I'm not 100% happy. I'm not as happy as I could be. And that was enough for her to literally break up her family, which she said is the hardest choice she's ever made.
Yeah,
why do you think, Anne, that people just stay in situations and scenarios and relationships where they're not happy? Is it fear of the unknown? Is it insecurity? Is it just settling? What do you think keeps most people in unhappy relationships?
Well, I think probably all three of those things are certain elements of it. I mean, I don't think it's one thing for anybody, but I do think that it's very scary to commit to something that's on the other side when we don't know that the other side is going to be any better. And I think that's the hardest time to risk being honest and being truthful, because you go, I'm going to do it, but is it going to be any better? Am I going to, does it mean that I'm going to be, there's no promises on the other side. The promise on the other side of truth is truth. So if that's what you're about, then that's what you can strive for, because you're the only one who understands that. But if you're striving for something that's like, gee, I want somebody to like me, or gee, I hope that somebody gives me a job for it, or gee, I hope that ain't ever gonna work, because there's never gonna be a guarantee of risk. The risk to be truthful is the riskiest truth for taking your life. That challenge is for everybody, is the biggest challenge I could offer anybody. How much truth do you live in? And then you don't have to worry about what's on the other side, because you know truth is what you're seeking. It takes care of a lot of lies, and it takes care of a lot of concern, and it takes care of a lot of people who are getting a lot of hurt in them if you know where you stand, and then other people can stand there with you too.
That's almost like you should host your own podcast.
Let's do it.
If you don't listen to Anne's podcast, you need to.
Better together. Well, I hope that we are better together. I mean, that's where this all comes from, and seeking honesty and truth to be able to reflect that for others is what the goal of Better Together is about.
Yes, come on.
I love that. I love
Better
that.
Together, come on.
No, seeking honesty and truth. Speaking of, just
I mean, we do talk sex a little bit too, you guys. You know, it's not like we're just boring. I mean, we do tell secrets, and we do, but usually it's about getting on the other side. What makes us feel shame?
No, that's necessary. You know, when Adrian and I, before we get into the next confession, we have like a bit of. I don't know if we've talked about this publicly before, because for anybody who's followed us for a while, you know, we're pretty open about our relationship. And when I say open, we're open in terms of we reveal what we want to reveal, but we're pretty transparent. And when we first started talking, when we met, we were just friends, and we developed a friendly relationship, and then it turned into a
friend with
courting.
Friendly.
Yeah.
Friendlier, and then friendliest.
Definitely friendlier.
It got very friendly.
And I was in the closet, like truly like in the closet. My dad's a pastor. My mom's Jamaican, and she grew up Pentecostal. So there's a lot of religion in the family, and I was terrified. And AJ at the time worked at Universal City Walk. And
I was a bartender.
In
I
our
think you served me a
secret
beer.
right. In our quote unquote secret friendship, we would go and meet at City Walk. I would sit outside waiting for him, and sometimes I'll go to the bar and like he would give me drinks, but I would wait, and we would be like, "What restaurant do you want to go to?" And I was like, "Oh, there's Panda Express, there's KFC, there's Pink's Hot Dogs."
It was like a food court.
Yeah, it was a food court.
We were also broke,
and we would sit there. But the funny thing was, it's funny you talk about like shame and fear and all these different things, and not living in your truth, because I was not living in my truth because I was in the closet. And I remember there was one moment in particular, and if you've ever been in City Walk, you know that in the food court area, there's like balconies where you can sit and patio areas. And we sat next to the railing outside of Panda Express eating our food.
So afraid.
I was looking around the whole time. Are my roommate's going to see? Is there's somebody that knows me that's going to see me? And if you think about it, why was I so afraid? Because I'm just sitting with you. We weren't kissing. We weren't holding hands. We were just sitting there. But I was so terrified.
I was probably playing footsie with you.
You probably were, because you always did something to try to get me, whatever. But when you talk about not being or living like 100% in the relationship or a dynamic, I remember the moment that I came out because after months had passed of us becoming more friendly and friendlier and friendliest, eventually there was one moment where he said, you know, I've gone through this before. I don't know if I can go through this again if you aren't comfortable coming out to your family and to your friends. I just don't know if I can be the person to guide you through that journey. And that's what pushed me to come out of the closet.
That's some real honesty right there. That's great.
And I appreciate that honesty. And it was such a real moment.
This is what I can do.
Yeah.
Good on you. That's a good thing to reflect. Didn't it feel better when you came out?
Exactly. I felt wonderful when I came out. It was a rough journey for me with my parents and with some of my friends and whatever. But I will say, I wish that going to what you said and what we experienced, I wish that more people would do that in terms of just being more truthful and more honest and bearing. Because if this person, going back to this secret that we were talking about, if they're in a secret relationship with a married man for 7 years and that married man is not willing to just bear it all and tell the other person in their relationship,
it makes me sad for them.
It makes me sad because I know that there is this excitement of, ooh, we're doing something dirty and like, oh yeah. But there's also, you're not truly being fulfilled. And I don't care what you say. I don't think if you're in a secret relationship with a married person, I don't think you're truly being fulfilled in the way.
Well, that wears off really quickly.
Right. Okay, so we have one more secret before we get to Anne's secret. This is anonymous female, North Carolina. My best friend and I have been fooling around with each other for years, but it's unspoken and she has a boyfriend now. It makes me sad that we'll probably never explore the true depths of our, I can't say that word.
Depths. You can't say the word depths. You just cannot say it. Every single time he chokes up.
This is the PTH.
Right? But I know it's unfair to her boyfriend for us to keep doing this behind his back. If I'm capable of loving her, then I know I have the capacity to love someone this deeply who is more available. It's just easier said than done.
Yeah, well,
Wow,
that amount of time is up to you.
Yeah.
Yep, you're probably right. It is easier said than done. But again, like, look, we're in another situation where somebody else is assuming what is right for another person, but you're going around somebody else's back, and then you're going to be worried about what that boyfriend thinks, and then you think that you deserve to love it. Get honest, and you won't have any of those problems. Whatever. Or include the boy in it and go, like, listen, we're behind your back. Again, it's a trifecta of dishonesty. And however much less than 100% that honesty is exactly the conundrum you're living in. There's no relationship or interaction that you are having sexually or emotionally with somebody that's not 100% without your participation in it being less than that.
Yeah, that's real. You allow it. I mean, you allow it to a degree. And,
you choose
and that's
it.
my thing. That's my thing. Like, I have no, like, any sort of relationship dynamic, as long as it is open and transparent and honest and loving and kind, like whatever the parameters you set in your relationship, I'm okay with all of it. I don't care. There's no judgment whatsoever.
Seems to go pretty well when you're telling the truth.
Yeah, well, yes, that's the part. It's the lying.
That's the part.
It's
the lying is what it destroys. Yes.
Yeah. It destroys every type of relationship, and not just romantic ones either.
Exactly.
I mean,
parents,
families,
children, all of it. That's why we live in pain.
That is so good. That is so good. It is now time, though, Anne, for you to confess your mess.
Okay, last week I dated somebody from Raya, and I went on to a date, and I was really excited. We were at the top of a hotel, and it was seeming really sexy and fun and wonderful. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get me some. And it's been a while, and I was like, oh, this is so good, and oh man, and he's a scientist. And here's a secret one of this part. I'm more of a scientist. I consider myself more of a scientist than I do an actress, which is funny because that's what I study most of my time doing, is trying to figure out things. So I was dating an engineer, and it was all like that. To me, it was like sexy. I was like, I don't know. Talk to me about quadrangles. I'm in. I'm so excited. Talk to me about energy. I'm in.
Not quadrangles.
And then, not quadrangles. Take down your pants. And just about to come in, and I swear to God, I had a couple of good drinks in me, and then I just happened to hear on the way back from drinks in the elevator that he was married, and I was like, and I wanted it. I went back to I was like, I even told Heather, I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna have a married man. It's gonna be okay, and it's gonna be good, because then people leave me alone, and I'll see him once. No, when he leaned in to kiss me, I swear to God, it was like a gauntlet came down in front of my face, and I don't like to say that I'm a prude. I am, though, kind of. I could not get past the fact that some woman, whether she knew it or didn't know it or whatever, and maybe this goes to some of the secrets that your guests are sharing with you. The facts of the matter is, my 100% is a commitment to myself that cannot, and it doesn't waver, and it doesn't matter if it's a secret. What matters is what you know. And I just knew that if I let that man kiss me, there was some, you know what? There's less than 100% of me giving what I want to give, which is 100% of myself to the world in the most loving, conscious way that I can. And the second that I know I'm not being conscious is the second that I know that I'm less than 100%. So I had to stop that kiss, and I did, and I told him, and it was weird. It was like this little breakdown. I was having this like strange emotional breakdown. Like, I'm such a geek. I can't even kiss a guy. Obviously, the marriage sucks. And I then started going through all the different reasons why I could have, or what it would feel like, or I haven't had sex in 3 months, and man, a little bit of dick wouldn't be bad. Now listen, those are the times when you got to look at that gauntlet and go, who am I? What am I about? And what do I want to serve here? And what do I serve for myself? And so I stopped the kiss, and I grabbed my things, and I ran out of the room, and I was such a geek because I had an overnight bag, and I was running down the streets of downtown LA like, oh my God, I just kissed, I did.
Oh my goodness.
But that is to say, I have less sex in my life, but I can say that I do stand up for what loving kindness is. And the challenges are when you feel like you want to do something that you want to do anyway, even if you know that it's the thing that's going to hurt somebody. That's the challenge that I live in my life, and that's the one that I try to embrace and encourage others to do.
Wow. Oh, that's good.
That secret tied right into our secret. So that was perfect. Wait,
and also she's on Raya, ladies and gentlemen.
Raya,
So
come and get me, folks, because you can't look at dicks and pussies on Raya. I'll tell you that. Now, you guys might be able to do that on Grindr. You go like, yes, dick, no pussy, no pussy, no. That doesn't work on Raya. You get somebody in your face, and you're like, no, yes, no, maybe, and then you get married. So there you go.
Oh my goodness.
We do say no to all the pussies, don't we?
Yeah,
you say no to the pussies. I'm not saying. haven't had another one, but I'm not saying that I wouldn't. You know, I'm just saying
you're open to love.
You know, just haven't found one that's funny enough to date me. So we'll see what happens next.
Listen, we love your openness and your honesty. We think you're incredible. This has been really fun. It's flown by, actually.
Yeah, it really has.
Well, you guys are a delight. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
One thing before we let you go, we ask every one of our guests, what is your takeaway from today?
I don't know that you guys want to have a threesome. No, that's not it. That's not it. I'm telling you, sometimes I get the wrong messages. That's not it. That's not it. Okay, these two beautiful guys don't. Okay, that's not it. My takeaway is that you two are wonderful. What is most important about sharing stories and telling our secrets is that honesty serves the universe in its explicit divine entrance into the holy, which is a matrimony of truth. And that is what you guys are encouraging. And I think that is one of the most wonderful things in the world. I'm happy to be a part of encouraging that for you and your audience.
We've got some really incredible compliments lately. Like, what? Okay, what did we do to deserve this? This is incredible. I love you. I adore you. We want to know. And yes. I know this just kind of came out. I saw it on Instagram. You have a major project coming up with The Weeknd.
Yes.
What can you tell us? Our listeners need to know about this.
Absolutely nothing. I mean, just go listen to his music. I mean, I love The Weeknd personally, so I feel really thrilled that I get to be a part of whatever project he's doing. And I don't think they're letting us tell too much, but I mean, let's just say I'm not playing his lover. There's a big secret that's not revealed. I think somebody else is going to be playing that part, but I'm going to have fun playing whatever role I play.
So we do have something to look forward to from you very, very soon, though.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. That is so cool. Keep soaring and keep being your authentic self. We adore you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. It's so wonderful to be on here. Have a gorgeous day.
We do want to get into our messenger of the week.
Ooh, this is exciting.
Our messenger is Gina Boo. They said, love some mess. They said, love this podcast. Mess is fun when it belongs to other people. Love Emile and AJ. Their chemistry is so fun, and the guests have been fantastic. Especially Drew. That episode was top tier.
Okay, thanks, Gina Boo.
Thank you.
You're our messenger of the week.
Confess your mess.
Confess Your Mess is a Straw Hut Media podcast produced by Ryan Tillotson and Frank Driscoll. Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and share.
And if you have a secret and want to share, go to confessyourmess.us to submit. Your secret could end up in the show.
Confess your